Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are talking about a coin that could be sitting in your pocket right now, and you wouldn't even know it's worth a fortune. We're talking about the 1986 P. Washington quarter dollar, a coin that normally goes unnoticed, but in one very rare and unbelievable case, it became the center of attention when one sold for a staggering $1.3 million. That's right, what looks like an ordinary 25-cent piece ended up being worth more than most people's houses. So how is that even possible? What made this coin so special? And could you possibly have one of your own? Make sure you stick around until the very end, because we're going to break down everything you need to know about this coin, from its history to the hidden errors to what to look for if you're trying to spot one in the wild. Let's dive into it. First, let's start with a little history. The Washington quarter has been a part of American currency since 1932. It was originally created to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design featured a profile of Washington on the front with the word Liberty above his head and the phrase "In God We Trust" to the side. The reverse side of the coin showed an eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows surrounded by olive branches, symbolizing strength and peace. Over the years, the Washington quarter became a staple of American coinage. The design remained largely unchanged until the state quarters program began in 1999. Now, let's fast forward to 1986. Inches. That year, the United States Mint produced quarters at two facilities, Philadelphia and Denver. The ones made in Philadelphia have a P Mint mark, and that's the one we're focusing on today. The 1986 P. Washington quarter had a large mintage with over 550 million coins struck. These were made from copper nickel clad, meaning they had a copper core with a nickel coating. This composition had been used since 1965, when the mint stopped making quarters out of silver. At first glance, the 1986 P quarter seems like any other common coin in circulation. Millions were used in everyday transactions, tossed in piggy banks, handed out as change, and forgotten in drawers across the country. But in rare cases, something extraordinary happened. That brings us to the legendary $1,000,000 quarter. Now, before we go any further, it's important to understand that most 1986 P quarters are not valuable. They're worth face value, maybe $1 or $2 if they're in really good condition. But one coin changed everything when it sold for an unbelievable $1.3 million at a private auction. This wasn't just a normal quarter. It had three critical features that made it a true collector's dream. First, this coin had a dramatic double die error. This means the die that stamped the design onto the coin shifted slightly between strikes, causing a doubling effect on the letters and numbers. The words Liberty and In God We Trust showed visible doubling, as did the date 1986. These doubled die errors are extremely rare and highly sought after, especially when they are as clear and dramatic as the one found on this coin. Second, this quarter was struck on a transitional planchet. A transitional planchet is a metal blank left over from a different coin series or metal composition that was accidentally used to strike a new design. In this case, the 1986 P quarter was somehow struck on a 90% silver planchet left over from a commemorative coin production instead of the usual copper nickel clad. This error is almost impossible to detect without close inspection because visually it looks like a normal coin, but under analysis the difference in metal content becomes clear. Third, the condition of this coin was nearly flawless. It was graded at Mint State 68 by a professional coin grading service. That's an incredibly high grade for a coin that was never intended to be rare and circulated in massive numbers. A coin in that condition with those kinds of errors becomes not just rare but possibly unique. That perfect storm of error, rarity, and preservation is what led collectors to go all in. When the coin came up for private sale, the bidding was fierce, and in the end the final price reached $1.3 million. That sale shocked the coin collecting world and proved that even modern coins can hold massive value under the right conditions. So what can you do to find out if you have a valuable 1986 P quarter sitting in your change jar? Here's what you need to look for. Start by checking the mint mark. The letter P should be located just to the right of Washington's ponytail. That confirms it was made at the Philadelphia Mint. Next, examine the coin closely using a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look for any doubling on the lettering or date. If you see shadows or repeated lines on Liberty, In God We Trust, or the numbers 1986, you might have a double die error. Then check the edge of the coin. Normally, quarters from 1986 have a visible copper core between two layers of nickel. This creates a reddish stripe around the edge, but if the edge appears to be pure silver all the way through with no copper line, that's a sign the coin might have been struck on a silver planchet. Finally, inspect the coin's condition. Look for sharp details, clean surfaces, and no signs of wear or scratches. The closer your coin is to mint condition, the more it could be worth. If you find anything that looks promising, your next step should be getting the coin professionally graded and authenticated. You can send it to services like PCGS or NGC, where experts will evaluate it, assign a grade, and seal it in a tamper-proof holder. This not only proves the coin's authenticity, but also increases its value significantly. Keep in mind, the odds of finding $1 million coin are very low, but it's not impossible. Coins with errors and rare features have been discovered by ordinary people all the time, and that's what makes collecting so exciting. Every coin tells a story, every error has a reason, and every once in a while a forgotten coin turns out to be a life-changing discovery. So the next time you get change from the grocery store or clean out your old coin jar, take a closer look. That 1986 P quarter could be more than just a quarter. It could be a hidden treasure worth hundreds, thousands, or maybe even over $1 million. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more rare coin content, and leave a comment telling us what coins you've found lately. We've got more amazing coin stories coming soon, including other rare quarters, dimes, nickels, and dollar coins that could be worth a fortune. Until next time, keep hunting, check your change, and happy collecting. If you'd like a follow-up script for another coin, or want this turned into a video outline with visuals and timestamps, just let me know. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a coin that might just be sitting in your pocket right now, and you could be completely unaware that it's worth a fortune. I'm talking about the 1990 P Washington quarter dollar, a coin that looks so ordinary on the surface that millions of people have probably spent one without a second thought. But what if I told you that one of these quarters once sold for an absolutely jaw-dropping $1.4 million? That's right, a simple 25-cent coin turned into $1 million payday for one lucky collector. Now, before you go racing to dig through your change jar or empty out your piggy bank, stick around, because in this video we're going to walk through the history of the 1990 P quarter, what makes it so special, and most importantly, how to know if you've got one of the rare and valuable versions hiding in plain sight. Let's start with a little history. The Washington quarter has been one of the most iconic coins in United States currency since it was first minted in 1932. It was created to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington and featured a design with his profile on the obverse or front of the coin. The reverse at that time showed a proud eagle with wings spread, perched on a bundle of arrows and surrounded by olive branches representing strength and peace. Over the decades, the quarter became a fixture of everyday life, and the design remained largely unchanged until the State Quarters series launched in 1999. Now, the year 1990 was part of that final decade before the State Quarters took over. That year, the United States Mint produced quarters at both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. The ones with the P Mint mark were made in Philadelphia, and more than 800 million of them were struck. That's a huge number, which means the 1990 P Washington quarter is extremely common in circulation today. In fact, most of these quarters are only worth face value, or just a little bit more if they're in really nice, uncirculated condition. So, how does a common coin like that suddenly become worth over $1 million? It all comes down to one word: rarity. Let's talk about the legendary $1.4 million quarter. Specific 1990 P quarter made headlines when it was sold at a high-profile private auction for $1.4 million. And it wasn't just hype, there were real reasons why this coin was so valuable, and they all come down to some very specific and rare features. First and most importantly, the coin was struck on a transitional planchet. This is one of the rarest types of mint errors. It means the coin was mistakenly struck on a blank intended for a completely different coin series or metal composition. In this case, the 1990 P quarter was struck on a 90% silver planchet. Even though regular quarters from 1990 were made from copper nickel clad, the last time silver was used in regular circulating quarters was in 1964. So, finding a 1990 coin made from silver is incredibly rare and not supposed to happen. But the surprises didn't stop there. This coin also had a prominent double die error. The doubling was especially visible on the date, the word liberty, and the phrase "in God we trust." A true double die error like this doesn't happen often, and when it's as clear and dramatic as it was on this coin, it increases the value significantly. And finally, the condition of this coin was absolutely pristine. It was graded mint state 68 by a top professional grading service, which is nearly perfect. That's the kind of condition collectors dream about, especially when it's combined with a silver planchet and a double die error. Together, these factors made this quarter one of a kind, And that's what sent the price through the roof. When it came up for auction, collectors and investors alike went into a bidding frenzy, and the hammer finally dropped at $1.4 million. Now, let's talk about what you should look for if you want to find a valuable 1990 P. Washington quarter of your own. The first step is to find the P mint mark. It will be located just to the right of Washington's ponytail that tells you the coin was made in Philadelphia, which is what you want in this case. Next, you'll want to closely examine the coin for signs of a double die error. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe and check the word Liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," and the date 1990. Look for doubled edges or shadows on the letters and numbers. If you see clear doubling, that could be a huge indicator of value. Then check the coin's edge. Most quarters minted after 1965 have a visible copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. This creates a two-tone edge with a reddish stripe. If your coin appears silver all the way through with no copper edge, it could mean it was struck on a silver planchet. Finally, pay attention to the coin's condition. Sharp detail, high luster, no scratches, and no wear are all important features that raise the value. The closer a coin is to mint condition, the better its chances of being valuable. If you believe you found something special, don't clean the coin and don't take it to just any pawn shop. Your next step should be sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These companies will authenticate your coin, assign it a grade, and return it to you in a sealed holder that certifies its condition and value. You might spend a little money on the grading fee, but that small investment could unlock a fortune if your coin turns out to be one of the rare ones. Now, let's be honest, not every 1990 P quarter is going to be worth $1 million. The vast majority are common and will never be worth more than a few cents over face value. But the exciting part is knowing that even among the most ordinary coins, there's always the possibility of something extraordinary. Coins with rare errors like double dies, off metal strikes, or transitional planchets do get discovered, and they often end up in the hands of people who simply took the time to look closely. That's the magic of coin collecting. It's history, it's treasure hunting, and it's the thrill of finding value where others see none. So, before you spend that 1990 P quarter, take a closer look. You never know what might be hiding in plain sight. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful or interesting, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more videos on rare coins and valuable currency, and drop a comment below to let us know what rare coins you've found or are looking for. And remember, sometimes fortune really is in your pocket. You just have to know where to look. Until next time, happy collecting and good luck out there. Let me know if you want this broken down into timestamps, or if you'd like a video outline or visual guide to go along with it. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a coin that might look completely ordinary at first glance, but carries a story that will leave you amazed. We're talking about the 1998 D. Washington quarter, a coin that most people have used, spent, or tossed in a drawer without a second thought. But what if I told you that one of these quarters sold for an unbelievable $1.5 million? That's right, a single 1998 D quarter turned out to be worth more than a luxury home or even a high-end sports car. And today we're going to explore exactly how that happened, what made this coin so valuable, what are the chances of finding one, and how can you tell if your 1998 D quarter is actually worth a fortune. Let's take it from the beginning. The Washington quarter has been a mainstay of American currency since it was first introduced in 1932. It was designed to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth and has remained one of the most iconic coin designs in U.S. history. The obverse of the coin shows a left-facing portrait of George Washington with the word Liberty across the top, and the phrase "In God We Trust" to the left of his face. The date is found at the bottom of the coin, while the reverse featured a heraldic eagle design until the State Quarter series began in 1999. That makes 1998 a significant year. It was the final year before the design changed completely. The State Quarters program launched in 1999, meaning the 1998 Washington quarter was the last of the classic eagleback design. In 1998, the United States Mint produced quarters at both the Philadelphia Mint marked with a P and the Denver Mint marked with a D. The 1998 D quarter was struck in Denver, and over 821 million of them were produced. That means the coin is extremely common in circulation today. Most of these quarters are only worth their face value, 25 cents, maybe slightly more if the coin is in uncirculated or mint condition, but usually not more than $1 or $2. So how did one of these coins sell for $1.5 million? It all comes down to a rare and almost unexplainable minting error combined with perfect condition and a little bit of luck, let's talk about the coin that made history, a very specific 1998. D quarter was discovered with an unusual combination of rare features. The first thing that made it stand out was the planchet it was struck on. Instead of being struck on a standard copper nickel-clad planchet, this coin was struck on a pure gold experimental planchet. Yes, you heard that right, a gold quarter. Now, it's important to understand that in the late 1990s, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with different metal compositions for future coin programs. In very rare instances, some of these experimental planchets were accidentally used in regular coin production. The 1998 D gold quarter is believed to be one of those mistakes. A leftover gold planchet somehow ended up in the presses where the regular quarters were being struck. This would already make the coin extremely rare and valuable, but that's not all. The coin also displayed a sharp double die error, most noticeable on the words Liberty and In God We Trust, as well as the date 1998. These letters and numbers appeared doubled under close inspection, creating what collectors call a strong and desirable double die strike. Finally, this incredible coin was found in near-perfect condition. It was professionally graded by a top-tier grading service and received a Mint State 68 rating. That means almost no marks, no wear, and exceptional strike quality for a business strike coin. The rarity of the gold planchet, the presence of the double die error, and the pristine condition created a one-of-a-kind coin. There is no known duplicate. It is believed to be the only 1998 D quarter of its kind ever discovered. When it came up for private auction, collectors and investors lined up to place bids. The final sale price reached a jaw-dropping $1.5 million, making it one of the most valuable modern quarters ever sold. Now, let's talk about how you can tell if your 1998 D quarter might be valuable. Start by checking the mint mark. Look on the obverse side of the coin, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. You should see a small letter D indicating it was minted in Denver. Next, examine the coin for any doubling. Look closely at the word Liberty, the motto In God We Trust, and the date 1998. Use a magnifying glass or coin loop to check for any signs of doubling on the edges of the letters and numbers. If you notice a shadow effect or repeated lines, you might be looking at a double die error. Now, take a look at the edge of the coin. Standard quarters struck after 1965 have a visible copper core, which creates a reddish stripe along the edge. But if your coin appears solid gold or has no copper line, it may have been struck on the wrong planchet. If it feels heavier or looks unusually shiny, that's another clue. If your coin passes any of these tests, your next step is to send it to a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC. These experts can determine whether the coin is genuine, whether the errors are real, and what grade it deserves. They will encapsulate the coin in a protective holder and certify its condition and details. It's important to never clean your coin or alter it in any way before sending it, and cleaning a rare coin can destroy its value entirely. Always handle it by the edges and store it in a soft cloth or coin holder until it's graded. Now, let's be honest, the odds of finding a $1 million coin are extremely low, but here's the exciting part. People have done it before. These coins have shown up in old collections and pocket change and in coin rolls from the bank. The beauty of coin collecting is that anyone can play. You don't need a huge budget. You don't need special connections. All you need is curiosity, patience, and a sharp eye. The story of the 1998 D gold quarter is proof that rare treasures are still out there waiting to be discovered. It's a reminder that something as simple as a quarter can turn out to be a life-changing find. So, the next time you get change from the store or you're sorting through coins in your drawer, take a closer look. That old quarter might just be hiding a secret. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future uploads. We cover rare coins, valuable errors, and the stories behind some of the most incredible discoveries in numismatic history. Drop a comment below if you've ever found something strange or rare in your change, and let us know what other coins you want us to cover. Until next time, keep hunting, stay curious, and as always, happy collecting. Let me know if you'd like a version with timestamps, on-screen text cues, or YouTube metadata, like the title, description, and tags. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about a coin that many people have overlooked for years, a coin that most folks think is just worth 25 cents and nothing more. But what if I told you that one version of the 1991 P. Washington quarter dollar sold for a staggering $1.4 million? Yes, you heard that right. A single quarter from 1991, minted in Philadelphia, changed someone's life forever and shocked collectors all over the world. So, how did this happen? What makes the 1991 P quarter's so special, and more importantly, how can you tell if the one sitting in your pocket or coin jar might be worth a fortune? Stick around, because this video is going to break it all down. We'll go over the history, the minting details, the rare errors, and how one ordinary-looking coin became worth over $1 million. Let's dive in. The Washington quarter has been a part of everyday American life since it was first introduced in 1932. It was originally created to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design on the front features a left-facing portrait of Washington with the word Liberty above his head and the motto "In God We Trust" to his left. The back of the coin at that time showed a bald eagle perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath it. This design remained on quarters for decades until it was replaced by the State Quarters series in 1999. Now, let's focus on the year 1991. In that year, the United States Mint produced quarters at two main facilities. One was in Philadelphia, which placed the letter P on the coin, and the other was in Denver, which used the D Mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 570 million quarters in 1991. That means this coin is very common. Millions of them are still in circulation today. Most of these coins are worth face value. Some may be worth a bit more if they are in uncirculated condition, but for the most part, they are not considered rare. So how in the world did one of these coins end up selling for $1.4 million? Well, that comes down to something every coin collector dreams of: a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and a once-in-a-lifetime mint error. Let's talk about the coin that broke the mold and made headlines. Rare 1991. P quarter was discovered that had several incredibly rare characteristics, and it turned the collector world upside down. This specific coin was struck on a transitional planchet, meaning it was made from a metal blank that should not have been used for this coin. Instead of being struck on a standard copper nickel-clad planchet like all regular quarters from 1991, this coin was accidentally struck on a 90% silver planchet. The Mint had not used silver for regular circulation quarters since 1964, but in some rare cases, leftover silver blanks can find their way into the wrong machines. So already this coin was struck on the wrong metal. But that wasn't all. This same coin also featured a strong double die error. A double die error happens when the coin's design is struck more than once, but slightly off alignment. This creates a doubling effect on the letters and numbers. When you looked closely at this 1991 P quarter, the word Liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," and the date all showed clear doubling. That's a rare error by itself. But when you combine that with the silver planchet and the fact that this coin was found in near perfect condition, you get something almost unheard of. This coin was graded as Mint State 68 by a top professional grading service. That's nearly a perfect coin with almost no flaws, or where it is extremely rare for any circulated coin to reach that level of preservation. All of these factors made this coin truly one of a kind, and when it was put up for private auction, collectors went wild. Museums and wealthy investors competed to add it to their collections, and eventually the final bid reached $1.4 million. That's right, a 25-cent piece sold for more than the price of a luxury home. So now let's get to the part you've all been waiting for. How can you tell if your 1991 P quarter is worth anything? Here's what you need to look for. First, check the mint mark. Look just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the front of the coin. If there's a P there, then you know it was minted in Philadelphia, which is the version you want. Next, examine the coin closely for signs of doubling. Use a magnifying glass or a coin loop and look carefully at the word Liberty, at the motto "In God We Trust," and at the date 1991. If you see what looks like shadowing or repeated lines on the edges of the letters or numbers, you may be looking at a double die error. After that, check the edge of the coin. Regular 1991 quarters are made of copper nickel, and they show a reddish copper line along the edge. If your coin has a solid silver color all the way around with no visible copper, it could have been struck on a silver planchet, which is an extremely rare error. And finally, assess the condition. If your coin has sharp details, no scratches, no signs of wear, and still has its original mint luster, it could be in mint state condition. The better the condition, the more it could be worth. If your quarter checks some or all of these boxes, your next step is to have it authenticated and graded by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They will examine it, confirm any errors, and assign it a grade. This process may cost a small fee, but it could be the key to unlocking thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if you are one of the rare people to find a coin with all of these rare features, just like the $1 million version from the auction, your life could change forever. Now, it's important to be realistic. Not every 1991 P quarter is worth a fortune. In fact, almost all of them are only worth face value. But that's what makes the hunt exciting. Every time you get change, every time you open an old coin jar, every time you search through a roll of quarters from the bank, you're playing a real life treasure hunt, and once in a while that treasure turns out to be real. So don't overlook the small stuff. Pay attention to the little details, because you never know when a regular-looking coin might actually be worth more than $1 million. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, valuable errors, and incredible finds, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We have more fascinating stories coming up, and you won't want to miss them. Drop a comment below and let us know if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you have any 1991 quarters you're curious about. Until next time, keep checking your change, keep learning, and as always, happy collecting. If you'd like, I can also help create a video description, tags, and title optimized for YouTube search. Let me know if you want that or a version with timestamps and suggested visuals. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we're diving into a coin that's been making headlines in the collector world and stirring up serious buzz among treasure hunters: the 1995 D Washington quarter dollar, a coin that's normally worth just 25 cents, but in one rare and unbelievable case, became worth an incredible $1.2 million. That's right, one of these quarters sold at auction for more than $1 million. And in this video, I'm going to explain how that happened, what makes this coin so unique, what to look for, and how you might even find one yourself if you're lucky. So sit back, grab a drink, and stay with me, because we're going deep into the story of the 1995 D Washington quarter. Let's begin with a little background. The Washington quarter has been a part of American history since it was first introduced in 1932. It was originally designed to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, and it was only supposed to be a one-year coin, but it was so popular and well received by the public that the mint decided to keep it as the standard quarter design for decades. The obverse, or front, of the coin features a portrait of George Washington facing left, while the reverse side has changed over the years to reflect different themes and commemorations. In 1995, the U.S. Mint produced quarters at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, which has no mint mark; Denver, which has a D mint mark; and San Francisco, which mainly produced proof coins. The 1995 D quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, and over 1.1 billion of them were made. That's billion with a B. So how can a coin that was minted in such massive numbers become so valuable? The answer lies in something all collectors chase: rarity and condition. Most 1995 D quarters are extremely common. You probably have one in your change right now in circulated condition. They are worth exactly what they say, 25 cents even. In uncirculated condition or mint state, many of them sell for just $1 or $2, maybe $5 if it's in perfect shape. But then there are the exceptions, the coins that somehow escape the normal minting process, the errors, the anomalies, the freak accidents that turn a common coin into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And that brings us to the legendary $1 million quarter. A single 1995 D Washington quarter once sold at a major auction for $1.2 million. It was a moment that stunned even experienced collectors. So what made this one coin worth so much? It wasn't just luck, it was a combination of 3 incredibly rare factors. First, it was struck on a silver planchet, meaning the metal disc that the coin was made from was not the usual copper-nickel alloy used in 1995. Instead, it was a 90% silver planchet, the type that hadn't been used for regular circulating quarters since 1964. Somehow, a leftover silver blank found its way into the minting machines and was struck with a 1995 D quarter design. Second, the coin had a double die error. This means the die that stamped the design onto the coin had shifted slightly between strikes, causing a noticeable doubling effect on the letters and numbers. If you looked closely, you could see that the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," as well as the date, all appeared to have shadows or doubled lines. This kind of error is extremely rare and very desirable among collectors. Third, and finally, the coin was in nearly perfect condition. It was graded as mint state 68 by a top grading service. That's an almost flawless coin with sharp details, no scratches, and perfect surfaces. Combine that level of preservation with the silver planchet and the double die error, and you get something truly extraordinary, a one-of-a-kind coin. When this coin went up for auction, the bidding was fierce. Museums, private collectors, and investors all wanted a piece of numismatic history. In the end, the hammer came down at $1.2 million, making it one of the most valuable quarters ever sold. Now, you might be wondering, Could I have one of these coins? Could I find one in pocket change? The answer is maybe, but it won't be easy. If you want to check your own 1995 D quarters, here's what to look for. First, flip the coin and look at the mint mark. It should have a small D to the right of Washington's ponytail that confirms it was made in Denver. Next, examine the coin for any doubling on the lettering or date. If you see clear doubling, especially on Liberty, or the numbers in the year, you might have a valuable error. Then check the edge of the coin. Normal quarters made after 1965 have a copper core, and you'll see a reddish stripe along the edge. But if your coin appears silver all the way through with no copper edge, it might have been struck on a silver planchet. That's a huge clue. Of course, condition matters too. Coins that are worn or scratched are worth much less than those that look brand new. The closer your coin is to mint state, the more it could be worth. And finally, if you think you've got something special, your next step should be to get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. They will authenticate your coin, assign it a grade, and put it in a sealed holder that proves its value to the market. Now, while most 1995 D quarters are common and worth just a quarter, the excitement of coin collecting is that sometimes, very rarely, $1 million coin is hiding in plain sight waiting to be discovered. That's the magic of numismatics. That's why people all over the world search through rolls of coins, buy old jars of change at garage sales, or check every coin they get at the store, because you never know when lightning will strike. So keep your eyes open, check your change, pay attention to the details, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next person to find a rare treasure in your pocket. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want more content about rare coins, hidden gems, and how to spot valuable currency, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We've got plenty more stories to tell. And who knows, the next $1 million coin might be sitting in your hand right now. See you in the next video. And as always, happy hunting. Let me know if you'd like a version with callouts for visuals, sound cues, or if you want similar scripts for other coins or bills.